Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Prospect Corner here at the Hockey Writers. And I'm your host, Matthew Zator. As always, joined in by Peter Baracchini, Dayton Reimer. Today, we're going to go through Peter's final rankings for this year. And you've had quite a few rankings out, Peter, and now you've got your set in stone ones just before the draft here in a few weeks. So as we always do, we're going to go through them and talk about them. So Peter, let's go through your top five. What's changed? I mean, not much has really changed, maybe. But who do you got in the top five in your final rankings?
Yeah, I was able to get my final rankings out a little bit earlier than expected because, unable to make the combine this year. So I had some time to get it out sooner than later, or I usually get it after the combine because of last minute, news and everything like that. So, but I am confident with this list right now, and let's get right into it. I'm obviously at number one. It is still Matthew Schaefer. I mean, despite 26 games played all year, the poise, the confidence on that back end, the speed, the ability to have a strong and sound two-way game. It's hard to come by a player with those kind of attributes right now. So he's my number one defender. Again, he needs to be a little bit more healthy, but I think teams are not going to pass up on that chance to have that kind of defender where he's very solid all around. Number two is Michael Misa. Again, kind of like a 1A, 1B situation between him and Schaefer. If Schaefer isn't number one, it's definitely going to be Misa. I mean, 134 points in 65 games a season. He just decimated the Ontario Hockey League. I mean, there's no other way to put it around it. He's just very dynamic. He's got elite level vision. He's got great attention to detail, great on and off the puck awareness. You could probably see him a little bit you could see him in the NHL sooner rather than later. So that's why he's still top two for me right now. Number three is a new addition. It is Caleb Desnoyers from the Moncton Wildcats. And I know we talked about, even on Prospect Corner, how maybe he didn't have the best Memorial Cup, but he was one of the best players for Moncton en route to their QMJHL championship. He won the MVP. He's a winner at every single level, and no matter what he does, he wants to win. He's already got, Hlinka Gretzky gold, U18 gold. He's got a QMJHL championship to his name. He's got that IQ. He's got that awareness. And even if he's not putting up points, he's very effective with his all-around game. He just does the little things very well, and I think teams are going to take note of that and could probably select him a little bit higher up. Four is Porter Martone from the Brampton Steelheads. Kind of always had him in the spot all year. The highest was maybe 3 or 2, 4, but is definitely a good spot for Martone because of that high energy and an intensity that he could bring as a power forward. He's got good hands in tight. He's very effective. He's very physical, in your face, and teams are going to want that, player to add to their wing because he's going to be very effective in their top 6. Kind of surprising is James Hagens at number 5. Again, I don't think he should be. I mean, it's just because of the fact that I thought that Martone had better results. Desnoyers had better results. Hagens was very good. Don't get me wrong. Point per game in the NCAA as a freshman, still impressive. High IQ, great passer, but I feel like he needs to be a little bit more confident with his shot. Passes up a lot of opportunities, and I think he just needs to get a little bit stronger. Where something that Desnoyers Martone has that advantage over him, but you can't deny the IQ and smarts that he has. He easily could have been number 3 for me. He could have easily been number 4, but I just like Desnoyers and Martone just a little bit more down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid top 5. Not many changes in the top, but like you said, Desnoyers did move up. Dayton, I mean, we went through your rankings not that long ago as well. What do you think about this final top 5 that Peter's got?
Really solid. Hardly any notes. It's like Desnoyers at 3, I think, is a bold but good choice. Definitely a top 5 definitely worth a top 5 pick. Hagens, yeah, I don't know, 5th feels a little low, but also how are you going to put him ahead of those 4 guys? It's a really good, solid top group. I like it.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, I mean, these are rankings. So, some of the teams, they could screw all this up, which usually happens. This isn't a mock draft. But, definitely a top 5 that's these guys are definitely deserving to be where they are for sure. All right, Peter, let's move to the rest of your top 10. I mean, there could be some changes in here too. What are the rest of them here?
Yeah, if it was a mock draft, I would have had a lot of spicy takes. Let's just say
Yeah.
that if I was able to do one. But so the second part of the first half of top 10, Brady Martin, he just missed the cut at that top 5. But I'm seeing a lot of consensus of him being just outside that top 5 right now with some mocks or rankings as well. But just the way that he was so competitive at that U18 tournament, the way that he picked it up for the Sioux Greyhounds down the stretch, 72 points, 29th overall in the OHL standings. Not bad, considering that he maybe had a little bit of a slower start, but then his game picked up. And, teams are going to love to take note of the fact that how well he played in big moments like the U18, how well he rose up and improved his play in the second half. That was important to see. So he's the reason why he's at 6. 7, again, this was really tough. It could have been Martin or Anton Frondel, but Frondel just bumped down a little bit. As an 18-year-old playing in the Hockey Allsvenskan, just under a point per game is really impressive. But the awareness, drive, and the skill set in tight is really impressive for someone his age. I always go back to Leo Carlson at his age, playing with that mindset, playing with that two-way game, playing with that ability to crash the middle of the ice, to power his way through. That always stands out for me. He's great with the puck protection skills. Hard to have him any lower. At 8 is Victor Eklund from your Gardens as well, Frondel's teammate. Just really high energy, high motor type of player on the wing. He's very tenacious, is always on the attack. Not phased. He never backs down from a challenge. Teams really love that. So, really can't have him outside the top 10. But this is always going to be in that spot for Eklund, going in that 5 to 8 range. 9 is Jackson Smith from the Tri-City Americans. I still think of him as the best defender behind Matthew Schaefer. Saw some of the things that I've been hesitant of having him a little bit higher up is, the ability to play under pressure, getting too aggressive with his pinches. Some of those reads really weren't that great. Scored a lot more, was more of a shooter, which is what I wanted to see down the stretch and in the U18 tournament. But, he's still raw in some aspects defensively, and he's got to refine those aspects to his game. But defense rushes very well. He's very quick. He's aggressive on both sides of the puck. Love that. And Jake O'Brien is 10 for me from the Brantford Bulldogs. The high-end puck skills, playmaking abilities. It looks like he's got eyes at the back of his head. His head's always on a swivel, constantly looking through defenders, trying to spot those open seams and passing lanes. It's very impressive with the vision that he has, and I think teams are going to want that as a top 10 selection. And it's hard to have him any lower because of how well he can make decisions with the puck on a stick. So he's number 10 for me.
Yeah, it's a great, I'd say pretty good top 10. We'll see if that actually ends up being those top 10 prospects. Like I said, teams can always mess things up because we've seen it in the past. All of a sudden and then it just throws everything out of disarray. But I think really good top 10. Dayton, what do you think about the rest of this here?
I agree. Yeah, there's maybe a few more bolder takes in this one than the top 5. Brady Martin is 6. He's hasn't been up there as often, especially, earlier in the season, but definitely deserves consideration in the top 10. He had a fantastic under 18s. Jackson Smith, maybe a little high for me. I would put him outside of the top 10 because things that you mentioned, right? His decision-making, some of his, over commitment or mishandling of things. I'm a little bit more wary on him. Still fantastic mobility, but I don't know, a little bit more risk, I guess. And then, Jake O'Brien at 10, another great prospect. Really did well with the Brantford Bulldogs. He's worth a top 10 selection without question.
Yeah, like I say, it's a good top 10. We'll wait and we'll see how many you get right, Peter. We always look at that at the end of it all.
I compared us all last year when we put all our rankings out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but
I do remember
all spreadsheet and I went to see who was the most accurate. I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but we were all pretty similar.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll have to do that again this year and see, see who got who's with accuracy. All right, let's talk about some risers, Peter. I mean, there's probably some guys that have risen up, especially the under 18s. Always kind of does that. Anyone that really significantly rose for you on their final rankings?
Quick honorable mention. He didn't rise up considerably. It's just one spot from 13 to 12. But Keishon Aitchison, I mean, like, dude's an absolute force with his shot, with his physical play. It wouldn't surprise me if a team does take him in the top 10. It wouldn't surprise me if he becomes the next best defender behind Matthew Schaefer and overtakes someone like Radim Murka, Jackson Smith. Just want to give a shout out for him because he is an absolute gamer. He has shown up in big moments, has scored some key goals. Teams probably had that on notice for him. Getting to the actual question at hand, risers, definitely the two that stood out for me were, the top two players for Canada at the U18s, or two of them were Cole Resheny and Braden Coots. I know Dayton has questioned or not questioned, but has brought up the notion of Coots not really being a big-time producer, but there are moments where he has that offensive skill set and prowess, and he was just that for Canada at the U18s. Cole Resheny, everyone was contemplating about his size, but he was taking charge of games. He was taking charge of the big moments, and again, teams want to see how well you could thrive in those big pressure moments, and Resheny thrived on that. And even so, in the WHL playoffs, Resheny, I believe, had a 2.27 point per game rate before going to the U18 championship. So if there's a question about his ability to overtake a game, he definitely can do that. The other one that really caught my eye was Sasha Boumediene, defender for Sweden, Boston University NCAA. Not necessarily a rough start, but was trying to find his game, but showed a little bit more consistency, and especially at the U18 tournament where he was second in scoring and was named defender of the tournament. I believe he had 13 assists. Showed a little bit more confidence with his mobility and puck carrying skills. In a draft that's a little bit weaker in regards to puck moving defenders, Boumediene is probably going to be one of those players that can move up in the second round or into the first round as a result of his play down the stretch, and that's really great to see overall. Vakov Nestershov is another one who really basically came out of nowhere. Always had him as kind of like that second round pick, but his power forward like game, playmaking skills, compete, energy really stood out, and he pushed his way through into my top 32 at 27th overall. Very effective in everything that he does. He uses the size to his advantage. He's very smart. He was just one of those names that really caught my eye after my March rankings. And ever since then, he has continued to rise up, and kind of like Matthew Nyes in a sense where maybe he doesn't have that shot, but he knows how to compete hard. And, I kind of not a fair assumption to put him in the realm of Matthew Nyes because he's still early on in his career. But what I saw from Nyes in his draft year in the USAHL is kind of similar to what I saw in terms of their overall game. And Nestershov does just that. Other risers are basically some names that are kind of under the radar. Bryce Pickford, didn't really have him on my radar until that second half. He's in the third round. Owen Griffin really had a strong playoffs. He moved up as opposed to being an honorable mention. He moved up into my late third round. So there are a lot of names that really caught my attention as well, including Lev Katzen from the Guelph Storm. Again, strong U18 tournament as kind of like a support or complementary player to the top line, where he was very effective. On the smaller side, needs to get stronger, but was effective in what he did. So though I know it's kind of like a long list of risers because that is what it is. It's what it's going to be in the final rankings, but those were a lot of names that caught my eye down this final stretch.
Sure. Dane, you see anyone Peter didn't mention as significant risers you saw there?
Jacob East-Wozniak was a first round pick for you.
Yep.
Found that a little surprising. He hasn't generally been ranked up there. But definitely possesses all of the talent that you want in a first round pick. He's got the size, he's got the skill. He just has to be more consistent with it, right? Sasha Boumedienne, he's been fantastic. Like seeing him in the first round. Same thing with Vaclav Nestrasil. Really, really fun player to watch. I think those are the several ones that jumped out to me. Alexander Zharovsky, 37th overall.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There's a fun Russian to watch. He's got hands, man. He can make the puck do whatever he wants.
Took a while for a lot of people to catch on, but now there's a big reason why Central Scouting had him ranked as high as they did.
Yeah.
Whether he'll go that high or not, it'll be interesting to watch. But you should definitely check out his draft profile. It's a good read. Whoever wrote it was like, he's good at doing something.
Yeah, check it out. Check out all the profiles.
Yes, do that, but also that.
Yeah. All right, the other side, fallers. Peter, was there anyone that significantly fell for you over the last few months here?
I had Haushi Simon Wang as kind of that borderline first round pick for some time. Very raw, and that was the main thing when he was coming into the OHL. He had a very raw defensive style, but he possessed a lot of the attributes that team wanted. He was very mobile. He's got the size. He's got the puck protection skills. But I had him ranked outside of the second round. Still a little early for a second, but it's possible that he could fall a little bit further down. Just because he was on a deep Oshawa Generals team, really didn't quite have that ability to jump up into the lineup. So we'll see where he goes from here. If teams are going to take a swing on him that early, or he could fall, who knows what could happen, but he's going to be a big X factor in this draft, if you want to call it, or kind of that high risk, high reward kind of player. Unfortunately, Cameron Schmidt did fall down outside of my top 32. Not because of the size factor. I still wholeheartedly love his tenacious style. He's got the speed. He can get around defenders. He can, make quick cuts in and out to fool them. It's just that the consistency kind of fell off for me. And down the second half, even into the U18s, he was noticeable at times, but there were times where just wanted to see a little bit more from him as a potential top 32 player. Didn't quite see that. And, hopefully he can I still hope that he becomes a first rounder because I like what he brings. He could rip the puck very well. It's just that the consistency factor, kind of like Yves Wozniak, he had a little bit better consistency and he moved up. Same thing for Schmidt, but kind of fell out just for me. I'd already mentioned some of those names that have fallen down. I am going to mention Emile Guite, a guy that was supposed to be kind of like a top 20, 25 pick early on at the beginning of the season, but he is just completely fallen off and he's barely holding on to that fourth round spot for me. And he's continued to fall down every single time. There was a lot of promise at the Hlinka Gretzky where he showed the shot. He showed the power forward game that, made him really effective, but he was quiet all season long. And I was hoping that at some point he would change my mindset about him. But, when you're getting ranked 79th by Central Scouting, where you could potentially be a third, fourth, or fifth round pick, where you expected to kind of have a little bit more of a build off a 57-point campaign, and he fell completely off with 30. He had 4 points at 11 playoff games, kind of matched that total with 3 extra games. You wanted to see a little bit more from him, and he just hasn't quite. He has the tools, but he hasn't quite elevated his game, and that for me is a little bit not concerning, but disappointing for me because I liked what he brought. And hopefully he could find his game. Hopefully next year he could turn things around, but his draft stock has taken a considerable hit. Yeah,
especially when he was supposed to be a first round pick, right? So that is a fair drop going into the fourth round. And it's not just you ranking him there. He is down there for a lot of guys, a lot of rankings too. So, Dayton, you see anyone that fell in these rankings that you want to mention?
Yeah. First name that I saw that was a big faller was Roger McQueen. You have him at 17th.
I save them for you.
Yeah. I'm always going to talk about the Western kids. I have my niche. He is a great, I think if he was healthy all season, he would have been a top 10 pick, right? He has the size, he has that offensive skill. He makes things happen. He's really, really good with the puck, despite him being, 6'5". I don't know how he can use such a long stick to control the puck so tightly. Yeah, I was really blown away when I was watching him. Except he's got, I think, a dozen games, or give or take a few, under his belt this season. That leaves it, like you said, as a massive wild card. Mm-hmm. Will he be able to convince teams to take him in the top 10 because that's his talent level, or are they going to be concerned with his injury history? And it's a significant injury history, kind of like Caden Lindstrom, who we didn't talk about in our Memorial Cup kind of review, but that's because he didn't look very good. He was kind of a problem in the final for Medicine Hat, took a couple of bad penalties, didn't have a lot of puck control. He's missed a full season, right? He doesn't have that jump in his game anymore that made him such a dangerous player in his draft year. Are we looking at the same thing with McQueen, or is he going to bounce back better? It's really tough to say. I would err, I think, on the side of having him a bit higher, but yeah, he's almost impossible to predict because everyone could have a different opinion on him. Yeah. And then one more I'll mention is Cameron Schmidt. Outside of the first round, very sad.
Yeah. I'm very sad too about both.
Yeah, he has the talent to be a first rounder, but he just doesn't have that size. If I was in charge, I would definitely use a late first round pick to grab him. Unfortunately, I am not, and it doesn't look like I ever will be. So you never know, but no one's knocking on the door yet. He's so good and so tenacious. Really strong player on the puck, on the forward, driving that offense. I thought he looked really good in the playoffs. I thought he looked pretty good in the under 18s. Wasn't one of their top guys, but still a good contributor. And that was a concern. That was, can he play kind of second fiddle? He hasn't in Vancouver. Can he do it other places? I think he did at the under 18s, and I think that should, help him solidify a higher pick than maybe others would use. But I mean, we've seen it time and time again. He might just end up being another Lane Hudson, right? He's a highly skilled player who will be taken way too late, and everyone will be like, "Oh no, how did he go so late? He shouldn't have been. He never should have been." If you guys looked at him, he's like, "Oh no, he's 5'9". You can play hockey at 5'9". It's fine.
I think he's going to be drafted where Logan Stankoven was in the second round. Would surprise me.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah,
I mean, and that the Canucks have a pick around that area where they also had a pick around that area when Stankoven was drafted too, but they didn't pick.
There you go.
I don't think they're going to pick him either. The Canucks don't usually pick undersized guys, unfortunately. So, and their management group doesn't seem to like young, smaller guys, but we'll see. Can always hope. But yeah, I think he's going to be probably a second rounder. I'd be surprised if he goes in the first round, even though he does have the talent. Just seems like all those guys. Cole Caulfield is probably the exception, but he still went lower than he probably should have. What was he, 15th overall? Probably should have gone in the top 10 that draft. But yeah, all these guys have just shown that they can do it, and no one's caught on to that yet. But maybe one day. All right. Well, thanks, Peter, for going through your rankings for the last time this season. Next year, of course, we'll have the 2026 draft, and you'll have your early ones out. I mean, it's going to be really quick.
No sleep.
But yeah, still a little ways down the way. But yeah, the draft is coming up. So make sure you're checking out all of our stuff at dogwriters.com. We've got draft profiles upwards of 120, 130. We're closing in on that as we're recording this. And by the time this comes out, it probably be over 130. So check out everything we've got at the site. Lots of coverage coming up over the next month. But until our next episode, we will see you next time.